Man rescues boy from river. Today, we share an incredible story of bravery that will inspire you to do good deeds. In the small town of Lakeview, Texas, lives a man named Jonathan Harris. One day, his life changed forever when he performed a heroic act by saving a drowning child. This story is an example of how an ordinary person can become a true hero in a moment of crisis. Jonathan has always been an upstanding citizen, but this event revealed his true strength of character and selflessness. Jonathan worked as an engineer at a local construction company and lived a peaceful life with his wife and 2 children. He loved spending time outdoors and often went fishing and hiking in the surrounding areas. However, on one of those days, his life took a dramatic turn. While walking by the river, he heard cries for help and without hesitation, rushed to assist. This was a moment that would forever remain in the memories of all who learned about it. Lakeview River was a popular spot for recreation and fishing among the locals. On that particularly warm day, many families decided to spend their time by the riverside. Among them was the family of a 4-year-old boy named Tommy Foster. His parents, Mary and David Foster, were thrilled to have a chance to enjoy a day out in nature and take a break from their daily routines. They could never have imagined that this day would become one of the most challenging in their lives. Tommy was an active and curious child who loved playing outdoors. That morning, he excitedly ran towards the water to watch the fish swimming near the shore. His parents were busy preparing a picnic and didn't immediately notice that their son had started wading into the water. When they realized what was happening, it was too late. Tommy slipped and fell into the river. His cries for help caught the attention of those around, but no one dared to jump into the water due to the strong current. At that moment, Jonathan was nearby and heard the screams. He immediately ran to the scene, knowing that every second counted. Jonathan never considered himself a great swimmer, but in that instant, his fear of water vanished, replaced by the desire to save the child's life. He quickly assessed the situation and understood that he needed to act swiftly and decisively. He managed to find a long rope and tried using it to reach Tommy, but his efforts were unsuccessful. Jonathan knew there was little time, and if he didn't intervene, Tommy might drown. His goal was clear: to save the child's life at any cost. He glanced at the terrified parents and other bystanders and realized that only he could make a difference. Jonathan took a deep breath and plunged into the water, ignoring his fears and doubts. He knew the risk was high, but he couldn't stand idly by. As Jonathan swam toward Tommy, his thoughts were focused solely on reaching the boy and pulling him to safety. The water was cold and swift, making the task even more difficult. Jonathan felt his strength waning, but continued pushing forward, undeterred. He saw Tommy struggling against the current and knew he had to get there in time. At that moment, Jonathan asked himself, "Can I rise to this challenge, or will fate be against me?" His friends and family, learning about the incident later, were amazed by his courage and determination. They knew Jonathan had always been responsible and kind-hearted, but such a heroic act was a revelation to them. Jonathan didn't want to be a hero. He simply fulfilled his duty to society and his principles. He understood that everyone has the potential to make the world better, even if it requires personal risk. Jonathan kept swimming, overcoming the resistance of the water and his own fears. He saw Tommy losing strength and slowly sinking under the surface. Jonathan knew he had to act quickly or it would be too late. He made several powerful strokes and finally reached the boy. Jonathan grabbed Tommy and began swimming back to shore, trying to keep the boy's head above water. His muscles burned with exertion, but he refused to stop. On the shore, people began applauding and shouting words of encouragement, but Jonathan paid no attention. His entire focus was on Tommy, whom he was trying to save. Swimming back was even harder than going to the boy, as the current tried to pull him back. Jonathan felt his energy draining, but he kept fighting. He tried to stay calm, though his heart pounded in his chest. When they finally reached the shore, Jonathan laid Tommy on the grass and began performing CPR. His heart raced as he prayed his efforts wouldn't be in vain. After a few minutes, Tommy coughed and opened his eyes. The boy's parents rushed to him, hugging him and thanking Jonathan profusely for his heroism. Everyone on the shore was stunned and grateful for the rescue. People applauded and expressed their admiration for Jonathan. Yet Jonathan didn't feel like a hero. For him, it was simply a duty to humanity. He helped Tommy and his parents get to the hospital, where doctors checked the boy's condition. Afterward, Jonathan returned home to his waiting wife and children. They were surprised and proud of his actions, but Jonathan told them it was the most natural thing he could have done. After Tommy was saved, his parents and other witnesses began telling Jonathan's story to everyone around. News of his heroic deed spread quickly through Lakeview, and soon his name became known throughout the county. Jonathan hadn't expected such attention and was somewhat embarrassed that his name became famous. However, he understood that his act inspired others to perform good deeds. A few days after the incident, Jonathan received an invitation to a ceremony where he would be awarded a medal for heroism. It was unexpected for him since he didn't consider himself a hero. Nevertheless, he agreed to attend the ceremony to show others that anyone can do good things if they are ready to help their neighbor. At the ceremony, Jonathan met Tommy and his parents. They thanked him again for the rescue and admitted that their lives had changed because of his courage. Jonathan was touched by their words and realized that his action had truly made a difference. He received the medal and applause from everyone present, but what mattered most to him was knowing that Tommy was safe and happy. This moment became a real miracle for all those present. People watching the event applauded and expressed their admiration for Jonathan. His act showed that even in the toughest moments, one can find the strength to help others. Jonathan realized his life had changed forever, and he would never be the same again. He became a symbol of courage and self-sacrifice, inspiring others to do good deeds. Several months after the incident, Jonathan continued working as an engineer, but now his views on life had become deeper and more thoughtful. He began participating in charity events, helping people in need. His example showed that nothing is impossible if you truly believe in yourself. Jonathan understood that everyone has the ability to make the world better, even if it requires personal risk. His act became an inspiration for many people in Lakeview who began admiring his courage and selflessness. Jonathan became a symbol of kindness and humanity, inspiring others to do good deeds. He knew his journey wasn't over and would continue moving forward despite all difficulties. His story shows that even the toughest trials can be overcome with faith and inner strength. And who knows what more miracles await him in the future. Jonathan says his story is an example of how important it is not to give up and keep moving forward, even when it seems like everything is lost. He believes that everyone has the strength and capability to achieve their goals, needing only to believe in themselves and their abilities. Thank you for watching to the end. This story is based on real events, but the characters' names, places of work, places of residence, and other details described in the story are fictitious. Any resemblance to real people, living or dead, is purely coincidental. We respect the privacy of the people involved in the real story and avoid any details that could be perceived as an invasion of privacy.